Welcome everyone to one of our toy chats again, and good to see a group on tonight. Hope everyone's doing well. And tonight we have a very interesting and different presentation, I think, because we've had a lot of discussion in the past on some of the major Canadian toy manufacturers. But tonight we're going to have a presentation from Bruce Toshack on some other Canadian farm tractor manufacturers that maybe we don't realize exist, or in some cases we may know of the toy and have seen them, but we didn't realize that they were Canadian manufacturers who made these toys. So I know Bruce has gathered up several items that he has in his collection, and Bruce kind of specializes in Canadian toys and Canadian toy manufacturers. So Bruce, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to share your knowledge and experience with us, and we'll turn it over to you and learn a lot about some more Canadian toys that maybe we don't know about.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming in tonight. I'd like to start off with that. I'd just like to give you a little bit of my background. I started collecting toys about since I was a kid, collected toy snowmobiles, still do. And when I became a fireman, I started collecting fire toys. And then I bought my first Lincoln, and then decided to collect solely Canadian toys. Meeting people on auctions and other toy collector shows, and asking the history of some of the toy companies, I found out there isn't much out there. You Google stuff and try and find history, and it's just not there. So over the last 5 years, I've really taken an honest interest in collecting pictures and history of Canadian toy companies, and I have about 1,000 pictures and a pretty big file in of what's out there for toy companies and what they made. Now, one thing I have found out, that just when I think I have something figured out, I find a piece of literature that proves me wrong. So anything that I tell you tonight, if you think it's wrong, please tell me, and I'll update my records and try and get the history straight. I like to say that there's way more toy companies than you probably can imagine were in Canada. Almost 200. Between big and little and one-off toy companies that were throughout Canada. I don't know a lot about them all. The history is pretty much all gone, but I'm trying to get it. And as I find stuff, I write it down, or I make photocopies and put it in my archives. So I'm going to start off tonight with a company, and I'm just going to switch the camera around here. A company called General Metal Toys, which made, and I'm going to ask you guys for a little bit of latitude. I'm going to stick with tractor and farm related toys, and just to keep it a little interesting, because I know you all are toy farm collectors for the most part, but just some one-off stuff, because these are Canadian made toys. So this is a General Metal Toys tractor. It's a wind-up. They were in Toronto. They were in business between 1941 and 64. They made mechanical wind-ups. Now, this is the box, so I'm just going to spin it around here for you. The box is a little bit roached, but I love boxes because they tell the story a little bit of what the toy is. So I'll just take that off of there. And here's the actual toy. Now, it's a rubber toy. Rubber tracks, it winds up. The tin lift on it is great. There's nothing on the back of this one that you can tow. Now, you might have seen an all chrome one that actually came with a little trailer, or you may have seen one that has like a little bulldozer front on it. But anyway, it is considered a tractor. Again, General Toys made this size and one size smaller. I don't have one in my collection, but they are a quite nice toy, and the tin litho on them is just exceptional. You can't beat it. Now, my next little toy tractors are wood, and they were made by Somerville Toys in London, Ontario. Somerville Toys started out as a packaging company, got into puzzles, which they still make, and board games, which if you've seen any old board games like Monopoly, War, that type of thing, they all will have Somerville marked on them. During the war, they became the biggest wooden toy manufacturer in Canada, and almost all their toys have natural colors, meaning there's no paint on them, just some varnish. These two are a little bit different. Unfortunately, one's missing a wheel, but kind of playful. They have men that come out of them, and they're just kind of a nice little toy. I'll put this up a little closer for you guys to see. I think you can see that says Somerville on it. Now, Somerville did make a lot of wooden toys in variations, tractor trailers, cars, all with people in them. They made the very famous Labatt's one that you may or may not have seen in others' collections. It's a wooden toy based on the Labatt's Beer Company Streamline tractor trailer. I have one in my collection here as well. A very interesting little toy company. And you can always tell because they do have Robertson screws in them, the square screws that were made in Canada as well. So we always know, even though it doesn't have a decal on it, that it's a Canadian made toy because it has Robertson screws. Just a little info for you. I'd also like to mention that you might see them with a smaller tire on the back, and which I have seen, but again, I don't have one in my collection. The little metal piece here, I guess, is supposed to be like a radiator cap on the little red one I have here. It's got a little radiator cap on it too, just for a little detail. They're very simple toys, but you can drop them and hammer them around and hit your brother with them, and they're not going to break. So, Viceroy, the rubber company, again. Viceroy Rubber started in the 1930s. They were bought out or amalgamated with Sunroco or Runco, which is the Sun Rubber Company of the U.S. So a lot of Viceroy toys are the same as the Sunrunco company out of the States. They're almost identical, other than on these ones it'll say made in Canada on it. During the 50s, they got licensing from Walt Disney Productions, and they made a line of Walt Disney characters. This one here just seems to be Donald Duck driving a tractor. They also had Mickey Mouse, and they also had Pluto, which is a very, very rare tractor if you can find it. This tractor here, they came in different colors. This tractor here actually has a little working push-pull mechanism in it in the bottom, which I can see, if you can see that. So if you wind it up, it'll actually go across the table on its own. The unfortunate part of a lot of these is they got dropped and the heads got broken off of them. So you will see a lot of them with the heads chewed off by the dog or broken off because they were just dropped. But they are kind of a cute little toy. Says Mickey's Tractor on it. I'll just write that up in there. Mickey's Tractor. So they had a same tractor for them all and just changed the heads. I'm guessing that's what they did. We believe that Viceroy also made a lot of the rubber tires for a lot of the toy companies in Ontario. If you look really close at the Viceroy tire, they're almost identical to a lot of other toy company tires as well. Viceroy is still in business today. They make hockey pucks is their main business, but they do a lot of other stuff as well. And again, in Toronto. So I'm going to go to probably one of my favorite plastic toy tractors, and this is a Reliable. And I'll just spin it around there for you guys. It's just incredible, the detail on this little plastic tractor. Now, reliable, founded in the 1920s, were one of the biggest toy producer in Ontario, if not in Canada. A lot of plastic toys, a lot of dolls. They started in 1920. They got into injection molding kind of at the beginning of injection plastic molding as a request from the Ontario government. They wanted to do injection molding as part of the war effort, and the Ontario government actually asked them to start producing pieces for the war effort. So they started off making hard plastic toys and then generated the soft, the malleable plastic toys, which to me, they kind of lost the touch. The unfortunate part of the hard plastic one, even this one has a little break in it, is they broke so easy. But just, if you can, I hope you guys can see the actual detail in this. It's just incredible, from the radiator cap to the muffler to the light to the live pulley on the side of it that actually works. Now this one will wind up as well. It has the one of the foot pedals is missing, but it does have the other one. It's a seat. Just incredible, the detail they made in this little toy. Even the motor has a lot of detail in it as well. I wish they had made a series of these, but pretty hard toy to find. This is my second one. I upgraded once before. My other one was red and the opposite yellow, meaning the body was red and all the other parts were yellow. So you do see a few variations. They also made a line of smaller tractors and a little different configuration as well. So I'm going to talk about another reliable toy a little bit later in my presentation, but along with tractors, they also made farm animals. So you could have like a little barn here that's full of unbreakable vinyl farm animals. So along with the tractor, you could have your own little set, which the detailing on the boxes is just fantastic. I love the boxes. They tell the story. And they also, along with the, now this is a little bit different age. This is a little newer than the tractor, but you also could get a set of discs for it and have your own little farm set and equipment set. Again, the implements are a little bit harder to find. I looked high and low before I finally found a set, and I found it in a job lot at an auction. So, but they are out there. They do complement each other. Again, a nice little Canadian toy that you can put together. So the next company is a company called Little Beaver, or Beaver Toys as we call them. Again, made in Tilbury, Ontario. They made a few different variations. It's kind of a crude tractor, but it is what it is. They market it as a tractor. It does steer, has wheels, has a blade that goes up and down and locks there. Came in a bunch of different colors. I've seen them in, this is the red one. I've seen them in green, and I've seen them in orange. I've never seen any that have the bucket on them, even though I've heard that they're out there, a little different design, which would have a bucket instead of a blade. But kind of a cool little toy marketed for guys and girls, I guess. Kind of a unique little piece as a tractor. Now, one thing I want to mention too is it does have a hole here for a muffler. I don't have any that had the muffler, and I've never seen one with a muffler. So whether it was an afterthought and they drilled them as part of the die method, I don't know. So one other piece, whoops, that Little Beaver marketed too is they marketed a stake truck, which has Beaver Farms marked on it. Again, you know, you could have a little farm set up in your living room for your kid if you were a kid, and this was just another piece. This should have came with farm animals. I've never seen a complete one to know what kind of animals were in it. I'm going to guess probably something along lines of a horse or a cow's. I'm not sure. I've never seen a complete set to actually know what they came with. But again, kind of a unique little farm toy piece. Now, Little Beaver again, they did a pickup truck with 2 horses. Now, this truck should have racks, which are in my collection somewhere in my house here, and I couldn't find them. But these are 2 original horses that came with the truck, and again, marketed as a farm truck or a livestock truck in their advertising. A really unique little piece. I was very fortunate to find the 2 horses that were original to the piece. And again, farm toy related. They never did a trailer, an actual horse trailer, but they did do another trailer, and I'll show it to you in a minute. So again, there's the truck and what they call the Beaver Farms trailer. The trailer is generic. They sold it. They're all the same. They sold it with a tractor, with the pickup truck, and just kind of a little, basically it's just the back of the truck mounted with a little hitch on it. Nothing spectacular to it, but again, based on the farm background, that's how they marketed the toy as a farm truck and trailer. By the way, I try and keep all my toys original as I can, so this one has got a broken bumper on it. I just never get around to changing it. I sometimes will buy a scrapper that has a nice bumper on it, and I'll change it, but sometimes I just leave them the way they are. I'll just finish it up by saying here's one more, the Beaver Farms. This one doesn't have a blade on it, but it was sold that way with a trailer attachment. So you could have a bunch of different combinations for the tractor and the trailer. So this one is a Marx. Marx, the big toy company out of the US, actually had a factory in Canada as well. Again, this is a bit of a stretch, but it is considered a tractor. This one has a little detachable blade on the front that you can pop on and off. Does wind up. Now, unfortunately, one of the tracks in this broke, and I haven't been able to find another one yet. But again, the tin lithography and the colors are just incredible. It has a little driver. It does go forward and backwards. TD18, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be an international number or what that's supposed to be, but again, a nice little play toy. You know, if it had the other track on it, I would let it go across the road. But again, a nice little farm toy made in Canada by a unique company that we don't hear from very often. Tonka. Tonka Fernmaster tractor. These have got quite popular in the last year and a half. A lot of the American collectors want these toys. I believe they were a Canada only manufacturer. I stand to be corrected on that. Again, made in Toronto on Racine Road. There's 2 variations of this and 2 color combinations that I've seen. They usually came with what they call a barge wagon on the back as one unit, and this one is really unique. This one came with, and I'll put this out here, what they call a Jeep that would hook on the back. And bear with me, I know it's a little tight for space. And then a float that would go on there. So you'd have this, and then the Jeep and then the trailer, which sold as a unit. It is proven. We have it in I have a picture of it as part of a lookbook, but very, very rare toy in this combination. Why they never produced more of them, I don't know. I know if you can find one, or if you could find one in a box, you're probably looking at a couple of $1,000 minimum for that toy. The Americans on the American Toy Chat for Tonkas, yeah, there's quite a discussion about this Fernmaster tractor and how everybody kind of wants it to complete their Tonka collections. Tonka made a lot of toys. Again, shut down because of bad management, the way I understand it, but made a huge variety of toys for Canada. Now, there is one other farm toy that Doug found and posted it as part of his advertising for tonight's show. I don't have one in my collection, but they're basically the two tractors is all I know of that Tonka made. Maybe you guys will know better. What do you think that the Fernmaster tractor is based on? Do you think it's a case or an international? I don't know. It's up for you guys to decide. It's a unique toy, and it's pretty cool. I think I wished I had one of these when I was a kid. I would have probably wore the wheels off of it a couple of times going across the living room floor. Just one other note: the cab of this is the same one used on the same style of graders. So this is actually a grader mounted in reverse. So just a bit of novelty for you guys. This took me a long, long time to figure out what toy company made this. It does say made in Canada on it, and it's all wood, and it's missing a couple of pieces. It's missing the steering wheel, which would have went right in here. And when the wheels turn, I'm guessing there would have been a driver that he would have went up and down as well. Now this was made by PAX, P-A-X Manufacturing in Toronto. And again, it's a wartime piece. PAX Manufacturing made a lot of different toys. They made wood toys, they made pressed steel toys, and they made tin toys. So a kind of a unique piece. Again, it took me a long time, and the scale of this is big. This is about a 1/8 scale, I think. Just kind of a really unique manufactured toy. Does have a little trailer. I'll put it here too, and did come with a milk can as well. So kind of a, you guys see that okay? Kind of a really unique toy. Lots of playwear on it. And again, I guess wartime when they couldn't get steel, so they made it out of whatever they could. I'm not sure what this does, other than maybe it had a little live wheel on it or something at one time and got lost. But again, another kind of a unique tractor, Canadian made. Just again, don't know much about the company, so just kind of a nice little unique piece to have in my collection. So of course we've all heard about camp. I haven't been able to find any camp toys for my personal collection, but I'm always on the lookout, and we kind of know the story but don't know the story. It's something that I'm going to keep working on. It's piqued my interest in the last little bit, so I'm going to see if I can't dig up a little more on it and see what the connection is between them and processed plastics. That's kind of my goal, and we'll go from there. So another company that made toy tractors, and I don't have one, but I'm just going to talk about it a little bit, was Noma, the light bulb company. They did have a factory. They did make a lot of wooden toys as well. This just happens to be a little car. But they did make a tractor. It's a pretty crude looking tractor, but they did make one. And I don't know of anybody who has one, but I know they're out there. Again, a wooden toy, a lot like Somerville. So I don't know if one or the other stole each other's ideas and started to make toys, or whether they work together. I don't know that. It's another big mystery as part of the toy business. One other big one here, and I'm going to move my camera, so bear with me. I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to pin down another big reliable toy that everybody had in the 60s. Was the little reliable orange tractor. Now mine's yellow, of course. I haven't been able to find a nice orange one yet. But during the 60s, every kid on the block seemed like they had an orange reliable ride-on tractor and a trailer that went on behind it. Eventually, I'll find the right combination, and I'll find the orange tractor to go along with it. So, guys, that's kind of my presentation. It's not a super long one tonight. There's not a lot of toys out there that I actually physically have or have pictures of yet. I'm still working on it. I'd like to open it up for questions if anybody has any, and we'll go from there. I'd like to thank, where is it here? I'd like to thank my loving wife for allowing me to do this tonight. She put up a lot today with me taking over her office. So anyway, yeah, that's it for a short Canadian farm toy bit. Always on the hunt, as I always say. If anybody finds anything unique, toy related, that's Canadian made, please shoot me a text or a picture. I'd appreciate it. And these archives are for everybody. So if you have a question about a toy you're trying to identify, shoot me a quick message, and I'd gladly try and answer it. Between me and some gentlemen in the States and a couple friends down in Toronto, we might be able to do it for you. So enjoy the collecting, and I hope you've enjoyed tonight's brief but hopefully interesting toy chat.
Wow, thank you so much, Bruce. A lot of interesting stuff there that I'd never even seen before. And some other items I've seen, but I didn't realize they were made in Canada. So that's just great. Do we have anyone with any questions? If so, hit your space bar and come on and ask it.
Bruce, was it just the Tonka tractors that were made in Canada, or were some of the graders and loaders and dump trucks made in Canada too at one time? Like you said, they had management issues, but you still see them in the stores and that, but that must be somebody else took over with them.
Yeah, to answer your question, yeah, they produced a lot of toys as part of the Canadian market. They produced toys at Racine. It started out as Mercury Tool and Stamping. Every once in a while, you'll see a toy with that name on it. Tonka came in and bought out Mercury Tool and Stamping and started actually producing Tonka toys in Canada. As I understand it, they were rolling along, and management came in one day and kind of screwed it up, like seems to happen with all factories. And the parent company, Tonka in Mount Minnesota, just said that's enough and shut the factory down. And now all Tonka toys are imported from the US. There's no Tonka toys made in Canada anymore. It's all out of the States. Now, the Fernmaster set, as far as I know, was only made in Canada. I stand to be corrected, but I don't know about the other style Tonka tractor, whether they were made in Canada only or whether they were made in the States. But I know the Fernmaster, as far as I know, was only a Canadian-only issue.
So, Bruce, just to clarify, Tonka Canada manufacturing was discontinued, not the entire Tonka company. So the US still remains.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. Tonka US still is thriving, still making plastic toys that you see today, but Tonka Canada is out of business and went out of business. Yes.
Okay, so any other questions or comments? Just while we're waiting, years ago, back when I was a boy, the Ertl Canada division was named Daisy Hedden. And they made rifles and pellet guns and that sort of thing in Hespeler. And they also did make some toys. I know like there's a International 404 tractor that was made in Canada, made in Hespeler by Daisy Hedden, which was a division of Ertl at the time, I believe. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not, Bruce.
No, I knew Daisy Manufacturing was there and made the BB guns and cap guns. I actually have a couple in my collection here, but I didn't know they did any farm toys or anything like that. That's interesting. Do you know if they're marked differently or anything's different about them so you can identify them?
I think I've got one packed away in my storage boxes. For sure, the box says made in Canada. I do think it also says Daisy Hedden on it. And if I remember correctly, it may have been out of pressed metal rather than die cast. I don't know if they made any other models or not. I'm guessing they may have, but I do believe that's the only one that I have in the box.
Nice. That I'd be interested to see it if you ever have a chance to get it dug out. That would be nice to see some pictures of it and see the box for sure if you have one.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye for it. I don't know if they made any others, but I know that one. And as a young boy, I remember going over there to their warehouse with my dad or my uncle to pick up the toy orders that we would get for Ertl that we sold at the dealership. So I was over there many times.
Yeah, and I just like to mention to everybody else, I only base my research on factual stuff. Unfortunately, you have to do that. You get lots of people with variations of the same story, but until I actually can document it, I try and not put it in my archive.
Yeah.
It creates a lot of confusion if you're going by hearsay or I thought, whereas if you have a piece of paper or a box that says this, and you can prove it, that's what I try and do as part of my archive and my toy research, which is very, very frustrating, but I've kind of learned now over the last 5 years of what to put in, what to destroy, and what is the half truth.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned Kemp as well, and I've got an International Farmall M made by Kemp in London, new in the box. If you didn't have the box, you would think it was a Product Miniatures, but the box says made by Kemp, London, Ontario on it.
Yeah, and it's a big deal. I have a lot of well, I shouldn't say a lot of toys, but we have quite a few toys that we just have no idea who made them, where they come from, and it's just, you scratch your head. They're so well done. You would think that there would be a little bit of research somewhere that would come out, and it just doesn't. There's a company called Qualitoy. They made a pickup truck only in red. I've only ever seen them in red. There's quite a few of them out there, and nobody knows anything about them at all. All it says on it, Qualitoy, made in Canada. So we don't know if it was made in Ontario, Quebec, out west. No idea. Now, one fun little fact that just happened over the last year, there was a toy company in Ayr, Ontario, that was part of another group. Let me rephrase that. The gentleman's son was part of another toy group that I belong to, and his father made what they call steel tread toys, and one was a crane and one was a bulldozer. And this guy came on and said, "Does anybody ever seen one?" And one of the group guys had one in his collection.
Actually, I know that guy. He taught me Sunday school. Ted Bazan was his name. I had both the bulldozer and the crane, or it's actually an excavator shovel. And I do have the excavator shovel that I got, and thanks to Wayne Devine, he helped me repair the roof on it. I don't know where the bulldozer is. Actually, I've talked to the son, we communicated, and unfortunately his father, Ted, just passed away this past year. And, but actually, yeah, Ted actually taught me Sunday school when I was a little wild bugger. And this, as I recall the story that he told me when I got these, very similar to Fred Ertl Sr. actually. He was a tool and die maker at a shop in Cambridge, and he got let go or laid off when things were bad. And he didn't have any way of raising money to feed his family. And so I remember going to his house. He had a workshop in the garage out back. And so he started making these toys. And of course, he told me his dream. I talked to him maybe 2 years ago. He told me his dream was to be the next Tonka. And it, you know, it never worked out that way. But he was in a situation very similar to Fred Ertl Sr. in terms of being laid off from tool and die work. And actually, the excavator shovels got a little gold decal on the end of it. Decal's almost perfect, Air Toy Company. And I don't know where the bulldozer ended up.
It's funny. It's a small world. His son posted, a couple of guys had one in their collection. They sent pictures of it. He got talking to his dad before he passed away and got a lot of detail about how he started the company up and all that, which is now in my archives here. Unfortunately, nobody has a bulldozer that we've found yet. We have pictures of about 4 different excavator shovels. Nobody has been able to come up with a bulldozer yet. So if any of you guys are out on the hunt, find a bulldozer. Pretty valuable little toy right now. I would suggest probably worth $1,000 if you could find one. If it was in good shape, I'd gladly pay $1,000 for it. But anyway, the story is we did the show, Mike Terry show, a few months ago in August. And I was set up there vending, and a guy walked in off the street with an almost mint one. Excavator shovel, just beautiful, all the markings on it. And unfortunately, he wouldn't sell it. But yeah, it's a small world, and you never know how the connections are going to come together. But you have to keep asking, and it's another piece of toy history that we need to save, because if the gentleman Ted had passed away and never got that little detail how he started, it would be lost now. So it's a lot of fun for me. I quite enjoy doing the archives and the research and talking to people and getting out. And my friend Doug Grieve and I, who's on here tonight, we've been to numerous toy collectors places and seen toys that we've never seen, only heard of, and got the opportunity to take pictures of it and do a little archive on them. And it's wonderful. So again, thanks. And I can't stress enough, if any of you guys find a Canadian toy, please reach out to me, and we'll try and save some of our Canadian history.
Okay, any other questions from anybody or comments?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, Frank.
Oh, okay, thank you. Bruce, very good. I appreciate that. I notice all those nice Lincoln trucks behind you. Very nice collection. I wish I had some of them. However, my question is, you know, Lincoln was a Canadian company. So did they not make any tractors?
Yes. Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah, they made a lot of tractors. They made Lincoln, the company itself, made a lot of tractors. They made Massey 44s, made a Cockshutt, made an Oliver, made a Minneapolis Moline, made an International, in a bunch of different variations. So yeah, they did make them.
But you don't have any?
And actually, Frank, you may not realize that we already had about 4 sessions on Lincoln, and 1 or 2 of them were on the Lincoln toys. And we also had a session on plastic, which included some Canadian toys. So Bruce, particularly did other miscellaneous toys that we haven't already covered in previous sessions.
Okay.
So that's why he didn't talk about Lincoln tonight, because
Yeah,
we've covered
right.
it previously.
Thank you.
And you, by the way, you can go and see these prior sessions if you go to the Ontario Toy Collectors Facebook page or to my YouTube channel, Doug Vincent. All of our former sessions are archived with videos. So Frank, if you want to see the sessions on the Lincoln toys, I think there's about 4 of them, because we also did some on the truck. So you're most welcome to go and look at those if you missed the sessions, or if you want to review them. They're all, as best our technology allows, we've recorded as many sessions as we could and posted them on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have a
Okay.
question for Bruce.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, Bruce, you showed us a 2-wheel wagon, green wagon with yellow wheels. Could I have a closer look at that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Okay, turn it just a bit. Okay. There was those wheels looked very similar to some that were made at Muscatine, Iowa. There was a company, I think was called Peter Mar. They made a wood tractor, a 2-wheel wagon, a 4-wheel wagon, and those wheels looked almost identical to it. And they had a 2-wheel wagon much like that, same colors.
Yeah. It could well be the same company too.
Well,
The other
is there a
part of-
name on the bottom of that one?
No, there's no
Okay.
there's no name on this at all.
Okay,
And I would suggest that I bought it as a set. Whether it actually started out life as a set, I don't know that.
okay,
That's again, more research. If you can find it, I don't know. That's the problem with a lot of Canadian toy manufacturers, is that they piggybacked off of US companies, and
Mhm.
how they got away with it, I don't know. But
yeah,
Lincoln piggybacked off of companies. Little Beaver especially did. They were associated with Buddy L. General Metal Toys are the same as Wolverine. So a lot of piggybacking Canadian companies did off of American companies. And I think it was just because they couldn't afford to produce all the parts. So they just went down and bought a tractor trailer load of toy parts and came up here and assembled them. But a lot of that, of US companies and Canadian toys, are almost identical.
right.
And
these
to
were
tell-
these were all made during World War II, so,
Yeah, most of the wood toys were done during World War II, just because everything was conscripted and
Right.
they couldn't get to steel. So there is another company that was in Gravenhurst called, it's not coming to me right now. They did wood toys as well. I've never seen a tractor that they might have done, but Allen Wood Products in Gravenhurst did wood toys as well. I've never seen a tractor, but they did a lot of other stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me that there is one out there as well.
thank you.
So any other thoughts or comments or questions?
Bruce, how did they market these toys, these smaller companies? Obviously, they wouldn't have a dealer network the same as the brand name toys. How did they get them out on the market?
95% was done through the Eaton's and Sears catalogs. I have a lot of Christmas catalogs that I buy when I can find them. And almost all the little toy manufacturers got into Simpsons and Eaton's somewhere along the line. Lincoln did a little company called Mitten, which I'll talk about on another toy chat if you guys want to know about it. We're on there. They almost all got their start through Eaton's, Sears, and then through some of the other little catalog companies. ERG is one, and that way, and that's how they networked all their little toys. And they did toy shows, and during those days, you know, if you were a toy company, you set yourself up at a toy fair and you had retailers coming to you and they would place orders at that show. Like there was a group called the Canadian Toy Manufacturers Association that was in business in the 30s, 40s, into the 50s, early 60s, and they had a convention every year throughout Canada where if you were a little toy manufacturer, you would go set up your booth, and then all these retailers would come through and you try and peddle your wares to them and hopefully sell some of your toys. So that a lot of it was face-to-face marketing back in there, but a lot went through Sears and Eaton catalog as well.
Good.
Okay, well, Bruce, once again, thank you so much for sharing part of your collection and your knowledge and experience. And it's just great to have someone in our neck of the woods, at least in Ontario, that has an interest in gathering up this Canadian toy manufacturing information and archiving it. And as you mentioned, I'll just remind folks that if you do have any information, pass it on to Bruce and he can assemble it all in one spot. And as he's mentioned, if anybody has any inquiries or wonders about what something might be, if they think it's Canadian, reach out to Bruce. And it's just great to have someone that's a toy collector friend that is able to help us gather all this information, understand it, investigate it, and then if we need to know some information, go from there. So one last call for any parting comments. Anything before we close off?
Just like to say thanks to Bruce.
Okay, well, thanks for showing up tonight, and we hope you enjoyed this kind of a little different presentation on collector toys from Canada, and we will see you in December.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, Bruce, again.